Adam Schiff, because he created 3 years of a massive fallacy that did so much damage to this country and made us miss probably one of the most important stories of our lifetime. We were having hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding.
With ferocious precision and a sneer that could be heard through the screen, Greg Gutfeld just tore Adam Schiff to shreds with a blow so vicious that the halls of Congress echoed with amusement. Gutfeld attacked Schiff's persistent fixation on being the star of every political soap opera, his theatrical grandstanding, and his forecasts devoid of facts. This humorous takedown disproved Schiff's belief that he could continue spinning tales without facing any repercussions. Pure, uncompromising ridicule at its best. No filter, no mercy.
Just pop their dentures when Schiff finally gets censored. And so the House condemns the lies of the man with the zombie eyes. Last night, the House voted on party lines to censure Adam Schiff for promoting the Trump-Russia collusion hoax, which was as believable as Brian Kilmeade getting fan mail. 2 for 2. Schiff becomes only the 26th member ever to be censured, but to his credit, he's still the only member to have a 12-inch neck.
Please hit the bell icon and subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying this video. To start out on Adam Schiff, Greg Gutfeld didn't require a spotlight, a teleprompter, or a dramatic soundtrack. Schiff essentially cooked himself every time he opened his mouth, so all he needed was his voice, his face, and a camera. Schiff, who strangely believed he was the lead in a Shakespearean tragedy, was treated by Gutfeld like a reoccurring character in a political sitcom. And Greg was the one in the back row, grinning and heckling with popcorn.
The curve and the irony is superb. He went crying to mommy on an app run by Chinese commies. Congressman Adam Schiff announced this morning he's running for U.S. Senate in California, which is guaranteed to boost U-Haul rentals headed for Texas. He unveiled the highly polished and produced political ad right on the heels of getting booted from the House Intel Committee. Coincidence? I think not.
Gutfeld said the great thing about roasting Adam Schiff was that he never realized it. Like a badly designed artificial intelligence model fed only CNN transcripts and Cold War thrillers, Schiff navigated Washington. He spoke as though he had spent hours practicing in front of a mirror before delivering lines that nonetheless managed to land like a wet sock, and he appeared to have not laughed since 1987. Gutfeld was unable to stop. Schiff was the gift that continuously leaked credibility, common reason, and sensitive information.
Hearings on impeachment while the coronavirus was exploding. We talked about that virus in green rooms, but we had to do this impeachment story. We had to show these hearings. It's all on him, man. He's got to go. They got to investigate him. They got to hold him accountable. I'm not going to say he should go to prison, but my evil twin will say he should go away to prison for a very long time.
Gutfeld started by examining the man's eyes. Those big, bugged-out eyes that seemed to be in breaking news mode all the time. He claimed that in a classified briefing, Adam Schiff's default setting was mild panic, as though he had just realized he had left the oven on. Greg used to remark that every time Schiff appeared in front of a microphone, it was like a meerkat trying to deliver a State of the Union. There was a sense of urgency, but nobody knew why.
Schiff, how are you?
Shame. Shame on you. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Gutfeld.
So, Congressman, I gotta ask, how did it feel to have your ass chewed out like that in front of your colleagues?
Oh, well, I will say this, Mr. Gutfeld, it feels...
3 communications away was the voice, that slow, monotonous, even mesmerizing delivery that made every statement sound like the end of the world. Gutfeld made fun of Schiff's ability to escalate a parking citation into a national emergency. He claimed that Schiff's speeches were sedatives rather than persuading. You would still be browsing through your phone in anticipation of the big moment, even if the man was discussing meteors that were approaching Earth.
And the fact that Schiff hasn't blinked since 1992. And he didn't take the news so well, the disgraced Democrat went on TikTok to complain. Behold.
Hello, I'm Congressman Adam Schiff with some troubling news. Today, Kevin McCarthy removed me from the House Intelligence Committee, all for doing my job, for holding Trump accountable and standing up to the extreme MAGA Republicans.
The misconception, however, was what actually motivated Greg Wild. Schiff didn't only think he was correct. In a city full of thieves, he thought he was the last man of integrity. He had more leaks than a toddler's water balloon, but he handled himself like a prophetic whistleblower, navigating a sea of corruption. It was dubbed performance art by Gutfeld. Pompous, theatrical, and always timed to maximize political theater. He launched onto Schiff's biggest hits, beginning with the Russia inquiry, which lasted for years. Greg compared Schiff's announcement that he had proof of cooperation to a man on the boardwalk who claimed that if you give him 5 more minutes, he could levitate. With the fervor of a funfair barker, Schiff teased bombshells, yet the tent consistently fell. Only fizzling sparklers and a broken loudhailer were there, but no pyrotechnics. Gutfeld emphasized that Schiff never blinked, never apologized, and never withdrew. Rather, like a man who tried to bluff with an Uno card but lost his shirt at the poker table, he doubled down. Schiff didn't change course. He excavated. Every miscalculated forecast, every unfounded allegation was followed by a fresh dramatic warning, a sad look, or an emerging tale that never quite came to fruition.
So Adam Schiff now admits he should have been much more clear about how he unleashed the impeachment circus. Note, when a politician says they should be much more clear, they mean, I wish you hadn't caught me lying to your face.
I should have been much more clear, and I said so the minute it was brought to my attention that I was referring to the fact that when the whistleblower filed the complaint, we had not heard from the whistleblower. We wanted to bring the whistleblower in at that time, but I should have been much more clear about that.
You know, instead of trying to be clear, it might just save time if you just decide.
The smugness was too obvious for Greg to ignore. Schiff never talked to anyone. He addressed them as though he were a substitute teacher who was certain that his civics and disappointment curriculum was making a difference in their lives. Schiff has the warmth of an IRS audit and the charm of a DMV kiosk, according to Gutfeld. He had a levity allergy in addition to being humorless. Like eggs on a Teflon ego, Schiff slipped off every joke, jab, and ounce of sarcasm. The hearings followed. According to Gutfeld, they are a one-man off-Broadway production that combines farce, fiction, and fantasy in equal measure. His obsession with close-ups of himself, his rearranging of facts like stage props, and his interruption of witnesses like he was trying out for a courtroom drama made him run the committees like a director. Greg jokingly said that Russia would always be the answer and more subpoenas would be the prize if Schiff ever hosted a game show. Oh, how the media adored it. They viewed Schiff as a hybrid of Gandalf and James Bond. His words were followed like ducklings by headlines, which used new dramatic fonts to repeat the same old boring lines. Gutfeld dubbed it the Schiff echo chamber, where the mood music was more important than the facts. Schiff took it all in. He was more than just a lawmaker. Wearing a suit that was too serious, he was a performance piece.
Bad when the Republicans took over, but it's far worse than we expected.
Cue the violins, people. But can he promise you this?
But I can promise you this is not the end of my fight for our democracy. This is just the beginning. Please join us and contribute today. Thank you.
Here's my question. How much will it cost for you not to run?
Greg couldn't help but make fun of Schiff's relationship, or lack thereof, with the truth. He referred to him as the master of the virtually confirmed, the almost fact, and the statement that is about to gain credibility. According to Gutfeld, Schiff did not lie. He treated them like long-term Airbnb visitors. Schiff would shrug, turn around, and give another somber speech about democracy being at stake when they were eventually refuted. Disseminating it like Halloween candy, he ripped at the absurdity of a man so consumed by misinformation. Schiff was portrayed by Gutfeld as the man in the snake oil-stained trench coat alerting you against scammers. The man who, using a fog machine like a magician, guaranteed transparency. Integrity was lacking. Under the garb of patriotism, it was story management. The book deals followed. There were book deals, of course. Schiff wrote his memoirs as if he had just finished a mission in enemy territory, not after 3 years of watching television news, which Gutfeld ridiculed. How I Saved Democracy Without Really Trying would have been a more fitting title. He referred to it as fan fiction with footnotes, a self-congratulatory book in which all of the antagonists wore red ties and the hero never did anything wrong.
Champions transparency, all the while saying the whistleblower might not testify because it's a safety concern, he maintains, because we all know CIA agents can't protect themselves against non-existent threats, or that our government can't protect him from your Aunt Sally.
Our primary interest right now is making sure that that person is protected. Indeed, now there's more than one whistleblower that they are protected. And given that we already have the call record, we don't need the whistleblower who wasn't on the call to tell us what took place during the call. We have the best evidence.
Since Schiff's style is Gutfeld and no detail is safe, Greg even went after it. Nervous accountants are the suits that appear to have been taken from a cheap bin. The ties that shouted runner-up for the high school debating team. Schiff looked more than just out of place. He seems to have been shipped from the Bureau of Redundancy after being shrink-packed. At a town hall gathering, Gutfeld claimed to have dressed as if he was attempting to blend in with the background. As well as the face. Oh, the face. The way Schiff's expression never quite fit the situation gave Greg a field day. Schiff had one setting, he said. An owl in a courtroom is startled. He always appeared as though someone had just shown him a live ferret, regardless of the subject, war, taxes, or birthday cake. The man's default state was a mixture of self-righteousness and slight terror. The fact that Schiff continued, however, was what really captivated Gutfeld. He hadn't slowed after years of mistakes, mishaps, and overblown forecasts. He doubled the theatrics, if anything. He was now delivering lectures about defending institutions and writing op-eds about preserving democracy, all the while denying that he had ever misrepresented anything, missed an opportunity, or pursued a ghost.
People on the planet, and I guess he makes it work, Tyrus. But
Does he?
But isn't it? I mean, I don't want to get mad about this because he's such a joke. But the fact that he isn't going to be really get any punishment.
Shame, shame, shame. Shame on you. Oh, yeah. Oh, excuse me, Mr. Gut.
It was dubbed the shift cycle by Greg. Repeat, fade out, dramatize, and accuse. An outrage-fueled machine that didn't need to be connected to reality. It ran on headlines. Shift did not have to be accurate. All he had to do was be theatrical, loud, and vaguely apocalyptic. He was no longer a politician. He warned about storms he helped produce and was a doomsday narrator. As he concluded the roast, Gutfeld depicted Schiff's ideal scene. He was reading declassified documents to a silent audience while alone on a dimly illuminated stage, certain that each page turn was saving a country. Schiff was more than simply a confused politician to Greg. He auditioned for a part that no one put him in and gave lines in a play that ended 2 acts ago because he was a delusional performer. The best part is that Schiff believed it was effective. The true humor was in that. The man genuinely thought he was the soul of the Republic, the conscience of Congress, and the final barrier against despotism. With a smile, a microphone, and a line to say, Greg Field stood there, watching the drama play out like a live-action farce, pleading for a laugh track.
For Adam, not even Mitt Romney could help him. Everyone knew there weren't enough votes to convict. Even the media, their only way out of this hell, pretending that Mitt was a hero. Poor Adam. He really thought he had him. Well, we've talked about who won the impeachment trial. Now let's talk about who didn't. As I've said before, don't think the Dems aren't going to stop trying to find dirt on Trump. They'll look anywhere. Hell, they'll go to a local high school if they thought they'd find...
Greg was aware that the narrative continued to write itself with each changing headline, dramatic pause, leaked memo, and loud warning. The roast had just begun. Production on the sequel had already begun. Naturally, Gutfeld wasn't going to let Schiff fade into obscurity without a few more teasing remarks. Schiff always managed to fit in one more dramatic headline, one more somber news conference, or another incident of America is in danger because I say so, just when you thought he had run out of melodrama. Like a child tearing apart wrapping paper, Greg jumped into Schiff's posture. He claimed that Schiff wasn't a real politician. Melodrama was what he did. Every problem turned into a crisis. Every argument devolved into a funeral procession. Schiff had the ability to declare a constitutional emergency over a zoning issue. Schiff continued to pull the handle while he winked at the cameras, so the fire alarm never stopped sounding. Gutfeld said that the best part was how Schiff spoke as if he were narrating a Ken Burns documentary about himself. He was monologuing to history in addition to his constituents. Schiff most likely had a voice actor following him around to make his coffee orders sound more patriotic, Greg said. The zip code of the man's ego was unique. Then Greg played the victim and confronted Schiff's favorite new trick. Schiff abruptly started acting as though he was being unfairly singled out for being a truth teller after years of navigating the media landscape like a DJ on a nostalgia tour. Greg chuckled at the notion that someone who had been promoting notions on national television for years was now surprised that someone would even dare criticize him.
Full details about the conditionality of either the military aid or that meeting with the Ukrainian president. It may not be necessary to take steps that might reveal the whistleblower's identity to do that.
Not necessary so much for transparency, but like everything, the Dems haven't thought this through. So not only are you going to impeach Trump, you're going to do it in secret, in the dark, reversing an election based on hearsay from some anonymous guy you will never ever see who has ties to Democrat.
He stated that Schiff's most recent costume was victimhood, which came with its own set of pearl-clutching talking points. Schiff had just been fact-checked, not silenced. And things are very different in Gutfeld's world. Greg compares Schiff's never-ending dire predictions to a man shouting shark in a swimming pool. People don't jump after the fifth false warning. They switch the station and roll their eyes. Not Schiff, though. Persuaded that his next dramatic reading of a document would finally awaken the public, he continued. Greg concluded by stating that he was out of material and that the ship wasn't simply out of touch. The drama was stale. The looks no longer evoked terror, only exhaustion. At a political karaoke night, the man who had once asserted that he was the last line of defense against tyranny was now the one muttering to himself, still holding out hope that someone would give him a microphone and listen to him. Gutfeld, however, was wiser. Schiff would return. He was always. And Greg would be waiting, sardonic, incisive, and 2 punchlines ahead. When he came back with the next leak, the next gasp, the next desperate speech. Possessed the